So your save file just got corrupted. Not by you. Not entirely anyway. The system just walked up, hit delete on about half your inventory, handed you a stack of paperwork the size of a small dog, and said, "Good luck out there, champ. Welcome to New Game Plus." This is the format where we don't roast you for how you got here. That's the speedrun series. That's a different video. You probably know someone who needs it. No, this is the guide for players who got force respawned and want to know which mechanics the tutorial completely lied about. And the tutorial lied about almost all of them. I've beaten this level. I know where the traps are. I know which upgrades are actually scams dressed up as upgrades. And I know about the cheat codes the devs buried so deep that most players just never find them. Spend 30 years farming the wrong stats, never knowing there was a hidden menu the whole time. So here's what we're covering. The carryover stats nobody warns you about. The debt mechanic that follows you across save files like a cursed item. A document called the QDRO that stands between you and a $74,000 tax bomb. A social security exploit that the SSA genuinely does not advertise. The boss fight you're going to lose in year 1 if you're not watching for it. And the beneficiary landmine your past self left for you. Past you was a menace. Let's load in. Chapter 1. The carryover stats. Here's what New Game Plus means in an actual game. You restart, but you keep some stuff. Experience, certain items, maybe a few abilities. The enemies are harder, the stakes are higher, and you're carrying baggage from the last run whether you wanted it or not. Divorce is exactly that, except the items you're carrying are mostly debt, credit damage, and the vague memory of what a full night's sleep felt like. The recovery timeline is 10 years. Not 2, not 5, 10. I know you've heard a year or 2 to get back on your feet, and I'm here to tell you that is a number someone invented to make you feel better at the worst moment of your life. The actual research says 10 years. And the cruelest part, 5 years out, about 25% of people say they feel emotionally recovered, but 35% say they're still not financially recovered. The money damage outlasts the heartbreak. You will be completely over your ex before you are over the debt. Congratulations, that's your starting condition. And the starting condition is not equal for all players, by the way. Women's standard of living drops about 45% post-divorce, men's drops about 21%, same divorce, same legal proceeding, wildly different respawn points. The game has different difficulty settings based on which character you picked, and nobody told you that during character creation. If you got divorced after 50, the math gets worse. Researchers looked at great divorce wealth recovery and found that people did not, statistically speaking, recover. The wealth just didn't come back. The one thing that reversed the loss was repartnering, and even then only significantly for women. So the lonely path stays expensive. The devs were not feeling generous when they designed this level. Chapter 2. The carryover debt inventory. A cursed item tutorial. Okay, this is the part where most players get absolutely destroyed because nobody explains the actual mechanic before it activates. Your divorce decree, that document you signed, that the judge signed, that your lawyer charged you $400 an hour to produce. It is a strongly worded letter that your bank uses as a coaster. Here's the actual mechanic. The divorce decree is a contract between you and your ex, enforced by family court. It is not a contract with your lender. The bank did not sign it. The credit card company did not sign it. The mortgage company did not sign it, and they do not care what it says. Joint accounts, joint credit cards, joint mortgages. Those still report to both of you. The judge cannot separate your debts. Only the bank can do that, and the bank will not do that just because you asked nicely and showed them your decree. You have to refinance. You have to close accounts. You have to get your name physically removed. The decree says who is supposed to pay. Reality says both of you are still on the hook until the debt is actually resolved. If your ex kept the house and the mortgage is still in both names, one missed payment hits your credit score for 60 to 110 points. Your ex now controls a button that can ruin your credit overnight from their couch, while watching TV, possibly while watching TV about you. They don't even have to be trying. They just have to be bad with money, which, if we're being honest, you already knew. And in a fun twist, an angry ex can run up joint credit cards on purpose. Large purchases, max balances, the whole thing. This is a documented legal strategy. The credit bureaus will not help you. FICO, that little snitch NPC that scores your entire financial life, does not care about your feelings or your decree. It just sees a balance and updates accordingly. The safe move, closing the joint card, can also drop your score because you've just shrunk your total available credit and spiked your utilization ratio. So leaving the card open is dangerous and closing it is also dangerous. The system has two options and both of them are traps. That's intentional. That's just how the level was designed. Oh, and the cable bill. In some states, a delinquent joint utility account can be reported to the bureaus. The cable bill is a credit bomb. The cable bill you forgot about in 2019 is still out there. It's waiting. Chapter 3. The QDRO. The cheat code. The devs forgot to patch out. The Qualified Domestic Relations Order, pronounced QDRO. which sounds like a discontinued energy drink from 2006, but is actually the document standing between you and a $74,000 tax bomb. Yes, this is a real legal document. No, I'm not making it up. Yes, it has a stupid acronym. That's how you know it's important. The government gave it an acronym that sounds like a rejected DJ name. Here's the trap. You have a $200,000 retirement account. You're splitting it 50-50 in the divorce. Your decree says so, your lawyer says so, the judge says so. Everyone nods. Great, done. Except it's not done, because the divorce decree does absolutely nothing to a retirement account. Nothing. It's not a transfer document. It's not recognized by your 401k plan administrator. If you just withdraw the money to split it, or if the wrong paperwork gets filed, that withdrawal gets treated as a regular distribution. Ordinary income tax plus a 10% early withdrawal penalty if you're under 59.5. On a $200,000 account, that mistake can cost $74,000. $74,000. Gone. Because nobody handed you the right form. The QDRO is the right form. It's a separate court order that tells the plan administrator exactly how to split the account, and when done correctly, the transfer happens without triggering the tax bomb. The IRS, which is a final boss with infinite HP and a 10% early withdrawal attack, does not get involved. The money moves. Clean. But here's where it gets worse, because it always gets worse. If your QDRO freezes the dollar amount at the time of divorce, say $100,000 in 2020, and the transfer doesn't actually process until 2026, you just missed 6 years of market gains. The account grew. You don't get the growth. You get the 2020 number. The percentage split method captures the growth. The frozen dollar amount method does not. These are different options on the same form, and most people pick one without knowing what they're picking. Also, 401ks and IRAs have completely different rules. IRAs don't need a QDRO. They use a different transfer process. Same retirement money, different paperwork. Get them confused, and the IRS shows up with its 10% attack in a smug expression. And if your ex took a loan against their 401k, which is a thing people do because the 401k is apparently also a checking account now, the balance you're splitting might already be smaller than the statement shows. You're splitting a pie someone already ate part of. The QDRO has to address the loan. Most people don't know to ask. Chapter 4. The Social Security Exploit. The devs hate this trick. This one is so buried that I'm going to say it twice. If you were married for 10 or more years, you can collect Social Security benefits based on your ex-spouse's earnings record, even if they hate you, even if you hate them, even if you haven't spoken in 15 years, even if they've remarried, even if they've remarried twice. The SSA will not notify your ex. Their benefit does not decrease. There is no limit to how many people can draw on a single Social Security record simultaneously. Your ex, their current spouse, and any other ex who was married 10 plus years can all collect at the same time. The system just allows this. Multiple people, one record, everyone drawing. The SSA designed a system where your ex-spouse's Social Security is basically a shared loot chest, and everybody who qualifies can open it independently. You need to be 62, divorced for at least 2 years, and your own benefit needs to be lower than the ex-spouse benefit would be. That's it. That's the whole unlock condition. Now here's the trap, and it is a very specific trap. 9 years and 364 days of marriage gets you nothing. 10 years and 1 day gets you potentially decades of spousal benefits. The most expensive year of any marriage is the 10th. If you are currently at year 9 and considering your options, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just pointing at a number on a calendar and making intense eye contact. The remarriage rule: if you remarry, you lose the ex-spouse benefit unless the new marriage ends. So a new marriage costs you whatever you would have drawn from the last one. File that under things to know before filing anything else. Chapter 5. The Beneficiary Landmine. Past you is a snitch. Your 401k beneficiary form is a contract written by your past self, who apparently still loved your ex and wanted them to have everything. Beneficiary designations override your will. They override your divorce decree. In most states, if your ex is still listed as the beneficiary on your retirement account when you die, they get the money. The divorce doesn't matter. The will doesn't matter. The form matters. The form you filled out in 2011 on a Tuesday afternoon and never thought about again matters enormously. Update the form. I'm not going to tell you when to do it in a sincere voice because this script has rules, but I will tell you that later is statistically when people die and your past self is out there on that form, waiting. Chapter 6. The Hidden Boss. Emotional spending. Every player hits this boss in year 1. Almost nobody sees it coming. Post-divorce emotional spending has a few common forms: revenge purchases, lifestyle inflation to compensate for loss, and what researchers generously call identity rebuild buying. What that means in practice is you just spent $400 on a couch you don't need, $300 on a jacket that represents the new you, and signed up for 3 subscription services choices that represent freedom. The new you is $2,000 poorer and has a lot of streaming options. The first 12 months are your highest risk period. The account is depleted, the emotions are high, and the retail industry has been waiting for you specifically. They know you just got divorced. The algorithm knows. The targeted ads know. The furniture store knows. The counter move that actually works. Open a savings account and name it something specific. Divorce recovery fund. New game plus stash. Do not touch, idiot. The labeling effect is a real psychological phenomenon. What you call an account changes how you treat it. It's not a tip from a wellness blog. It's behavioral economics. It's also the least fun thing I've said in this entire video, which is why I buried it here. Rapid fire patch notes. 2 retirements cost about 50% more than 1 shared retirement. Even a 50-50 split leaves both players with roughly 25% less future spending power because economies of scale are gone. The math is not on your side. The math has never been on your side. The math is your ex's lawyer. Cutting expenses is fine. Growing your income is faster. Most divorce financial advice is entirely focused on the budget. The actual fastest path to recovery is a salary renegotiation or a new income stream. Budgeting is inventory management. Income growth is farming XP. Both matter, one scales. The I'm too old to start over framing is mostly emotional, not mathematical. At 50, with 15 years until retirement and a clear plan, meaningful wealth rebuild is possible. This is the one time I'll say something that sounds vaguely hopeful, so I'm legally required to immediately ruin it. A plan is not the same as a feeling. I'll figure it out is not a plan. It'll work out is not a plan. I have a guy is not a plan unless the guy is a financial advisor and he's still returning your calls. Closing patch notes. What you actually know now that you didn't before. The divorce decree is a coaster. The QDRO is pronounced QDRO and it costs $74,000 to not know that. Your ex's social security record is a loot chest that opens after 10 years. Your beneficiary form is a ticking bomb your past self left in the wall. The cable bill is a credit weapon. Year 1 is the boss fight. Don't spend your way through it. The recovery timeline is 10 years. It is not 2. The people who told you 2 were being kind and incorrect simultaneously. If you're watching this because you're in it right now, congratulations, you have the map. Most players are still pressing random buttons in the dark and losing $74,000 to a document that sounds like a discontinued energy drink. And if you found any of this useful, or if you want to watch the speedrun series where we roast the people who chose their own disasters, that playlist is right there. Subscribe if you want the next New Game Plus. We're covering bankruptcy next, and I have a lot of feelings about the means test. The next save file is already loading. It's going to be a weird one.